Good morning, guys. We're going to pick up right here at 780. The last thing that's been happening is that Aeneas's spear had been stuck in the root of the tree or in the stump of this sacred tree, and he's trying to pluck it out. He's trying to lean on it and pull it out of that so that he can use it as his weapon. However, Turnus sees that happen, and this sacred tree was destroyed by the Trojans, and the Trojans completely defiled it and disrespected Faunus, the god. Trojan calls out, "Hey Faunus, help me out here. Don't let your tree let go of this spear if ever I've worshipped you well, and if ever the Trojans have profaned your name." And so he ends his speech, his prayer, and Dixit is right where we pick up. He spoke, or thus he spoke. And usually Dixit is one of those signpost words to show us or show editors or show us where the end of the quotation would be. And we'll call it. So Turnus spoke, and Turnus called. Open. He called the help day of the god, known in Casa Wota, not in useless prayers or not in vain prayers. Nam koi diu lucas lentokoi in stirpe moratus, and we're gonna throw in an est right here. And let's see, he was delayed. And Luctons, struggling, or this is actually even a word that is kind of used in wrestling or something like that, like somebody struggling with something. And so we're talking about Aeneas here. Aeneas, struggling, moratus est, was delayed, diu, for a long time. Namque, just throw that at the beginning, for Aeneas struggling, was delayed for a long time, lento in stirpe, and I would say on the clinging root, which is basically the stump that's not letting go. Lenta, let's see, lento can also mean slow, but meaning think of slow, like molasses, or clinging on, or delaying, not letting something go faster. And let's see. Viribus haudolus valuit excludere amorsus reverse Aeneas. All right, sorry, I made notes and I'm trying to figure out where I am in notes, but I think it might just be faster for me to go off the top of my head. So, how not at all, Waluit, he was not succeeding at all. Waluit, you can say he did not succeed, or he didn't do well, he wasn't successful, he didn't succeed. He succeeded, howd, not at all. This is an even stronger word than minime. Viribus olis, with any of his strength, is how we would say it in English, but this is plural, with any of his strengths. Aeneas, Waluit, was able or was successful, discludere, to dislodge the morsos. And here, this is fourth declension, and so the US is actually accusative plural. This is the you stupid, you idiot, you moron, you declension, where US can be accusative. It's long, so morsos ruboris, which is genitive of wood. Aeneas was not able, or did not succeed, was not successful, or was not at all successful to dislodge the bite of wood, or the grip maybe of wood. Viribus olis, with any of his forces, with any of his strengths. Doom, while Acher, and Acher, I'm gonna just draw a picture of Aeneas for a second. And he is described as Acher a couple of different times. a couple of different times in this text. So I'm going to put Acer Aeneas, fierce Aeneas, or bitter Aeneas, or sharp. This is where we get the word acid, the AC. And let's see, Dumnitor Acer et instat. Let's see. While Niditor, the Acer, while Aeneas, the bitter one, struggles, Niditor, et instat, and threatens is the word I'm going to use here. He's like standing in a place in this threatening way, while he is struggling and threatening. So he's struggling to get his spear out of the wood, and he's also threatening because he knows that he wants to kill Turnus. At this moment, when Aeneas is struggling to get the spear, Rorsus procurit, somebody runs out, somebody like there we go. Dea Downia is the nominative I'm looking for. The Daunian goddess, and this is Juturna, Juturna, which is Turnus's twin sister. And if you have trouble remembering that, just Jut right here. I want that T to stick out to you. And it's literally Turnus's name, feminine, Turna, instead of Turnus. So the Daunian goddess runs forth or bursts forth. And let me tell you more about her. She is mutata. She is changed in Facian, into the face or into the likeness or into the form, Aurigai Matiski, of the charioteer Metiscus, Rorsum, or Rorsus, again, back. So this is a trick that she's played before. You saw it in lines 614, the very beginning when we started reading that she had pretended to be Metiscus to try to keep her brother safe. So she's pulling this old trick again. And so she runs forth, and the Quay read it, and she returns the ensign, the sword, Fratri, to her brother. Cool. And period. So think about the sides that people were on for a second. How Venus, okay, Venus hasn't come into it yet. You have Aeneas and you have Turnus, right? I'm gonna say Acer Aeneas, and then you have Turnus, who's like gonna be holding a, oh, sorry about your arms, guy. He's gonna be holding a sword. So he gets his own sword back. He's also fierce and threatening and all this type of stuff. But Aeneas is probably just more so. That's what you're gonna say. People that are on his side is Juturna, and people that are on Aeneas' side is Venus. When I say people, I mean goddesses. And there's another goddess called Juno that's on somebody's side. If you can't remember whose side Juno is on, just remember that Juno hates the Trojans, as you read about in your little Aeneid booklet, probably 2 years ago now. So Juno hates the Trojans. Juno also hates Venus, because Venus won the beauty contest. So Juno's going to be over here. She's going to be helping Turnus. But you know what? At this point, Zeus had already, or Jupiter had already forbidden people, the gods and goddesses, from intervening in warfare of like mortals. And so Juno is like sitting up on a cloud, and she's like, I'm not doing anything. But really, Juno is setting Juturna up, and she's like, hey, Juturna, go down there, pretend to be Metiscus, and give Turnus back his sword. And so all of that's kind of happening in this moment. The reason that Venus is on Aeneas' side is because obviously the Trojans gave her the like she won the beauty contest. However, what else? Oh, Aeneas is her son. At this point, because Juturna came down and gave Turnus his sword, somebody is angry. It is Venus. Venus. So, Venus 6 is indignata. She is indignant. I'm going to start using words that, what are they called? The cognates, the words that like the Latin word looks like the English word. And hopefully maybe that'll help you out, you guys out with vocabulary some. She is indignant. And why is she indignant? She's indignant at all these things. And all these following things are going to be accusative. She's indignant that this. And here it is that it is permitted, audaci nymphae, to the audacious nymph, which is Juturna. At Kesset, is that what I want to do next? At Kesset, to approach. She's indignant that it was allowed for the nymph to approach, because remember, she's like, we're not supposed to go down and like help the mortals, but Juturna did. She helped him and gave him a sword. I'm going to go down and help my son too. That Juturna approached Turnus with a sword. And here's what happened. She plucked, revelet, the tellum, the weapon, ab alta radice, from the deep root. And the weapon here is Aeneas' spear. So Juturna swoops down, gives Turnus his sword. Venus is like, oh, fine, if you're doing that, then I'll do this. She swoops down and plucks out this from the root and gives Aeneas his spear. Oli sublimes. Okay, this Oli is actually a super old form of Ili, I-L-L-I, which just means they. Sublime, you've heard this word before. It means high or lofty or uplifted or transcending to the heavens or something like that. I'm gonna say, you can literally say, those sublime people. We're talking about Turnus and Aeneas here. Like, basically, they're heroes. They're like they're high heroes. So I'm gonna say, like, those lofty heroes, refecti sunt, are restored, armies, in their weapons, animisque, and in their animis, and in their minds, or and in their spirits. So now he feels good, like he can actually fight because he has a spirit. He feels good, like he can actually fight because he has his sword. Heek. The heek. Now you have the heek here, or this guy, and here, this guy. So I'm gonna look at this, Gladio Fidens Heek Aker. Oh, there's that word Aker. This heek is going to go with Aker, and so that Aker is going to be Aeneas. So we're going to, oh, sorry guys, I'm bouncing. And this heek guy is Fidens, is trusting Gladio in his sword. And so we know that that guy is Turnus. This one of the heroes, is trusting in his sword, but this guy over here, bitter Aeneas, he is bitter and arduous, hasta, and harsh, maybe, or enduring, hasta, with his sword. Ad sistunt. They take a position, and this is like, sisto sistere means to stop. Ad means like to very stop or to stop at a certain point. So they like find a spot, they stop there emphatically. They find a position, they take their position. Contra, against, and I'm gonna say I don't know how to translate this as an adverb. I'm gonna skip it for a second. And they, Anhili, this is nominative plural also. We're going to say panting. I don't know, I'm writing that. And these two guys, Turnus and Aeneas, panting, adsistent, take up a position, kertamina, which is fights or combats, like the noun, like a battle, a fight, a combat. So the combats Martis of Mars. So the panting ones stop contra against each other, maybe, or against without even writing each other. And they stop the panting ones take a position against the combats of Mars, maybe. I'm going to stick with that. I think that's pretty solid grammatically. Eunonem interia rex omni potens olympi. So ad loquitur. So ad loquitur. If you look up at my wall, which I don't think that you are in the room right now, loquor lingua latina is one of them. I speak the Latin language. Ad loquitur. So loquitur is where you get like loquacious, locution, like the talking types of words. Ad loquitur is when somebody's talking to someone. So the rex, the king, interia, meanwhile, ad loquitur, but hang on, the rex, the king, omnipotens Olympi, of omnipotent Olympus. And you think that like, oh, is the mountain Olympus all powerful, or is the king all powerful? Well, grammatically, all powerful is going with Olympus. So we're going to stick to that in our translation, but you can recognize that as the literary device of transferred epithet. Did anybody know that? Because it's the all-powerful king, understood, but all-powerful is sharing Olympus. Okay. The king of all-powerful Olympus, meanwhile, is talking to Juno, his wife, and Juno is watching tuentim, the NSNT goes ing, watching the pugnas. So he is talking to Juno, watching the pugnas de fulva nube, from her like lightning cloud, from her lightning cloud, or maybe from her golden cloud or something like that. What did I translate it as? Oh, I didn't. Okay. Quae iam finis erit conjux. Quae here is feminine, goes with finis. So what end now will be, O wife? Quidini que restat. What finally is left? Skis. Oh, that's terrible. You know, you understand, ipsa, yourself. You yourself understand, Aenean indigentem, that Aeneas is an indigentem. And this is a fun word that we don't have an English translation for, other than a long description. You know, you yourself know that Aeneas is a divine hero, is what I'm going to say. When I look it up, it's this long explanation that's like, a mortal that becomes a god. So you know that Aeneas becomes a god, is a divine hero. And skire, and I'm going to do Phateris next. And you confess, or you say, or you speak, skire, to know, you say that you know that Aeneas deberi at, there's a lot of like main verb with lots of infinitives. Totally, to be carried ad sidera, to the heavens. Kylo, in the sky. Fatis, by the gods. Toli is an infinitive, meaning like to do something. However, this is a passive infinitive, so it's to be carried or to be lifted. You yourself know Aeneas is a divine hero, and you confess to know that Aeneas ought to be carried to the stars in the sky or in heaven by the fates. You know that he's a divine hero. You know that he's going to be a god. Quid struis. And quid here is actually going to become a core. We're going to translate. Sometimes, most of the time, quid means what? Sometimes it means why. Why struis? And how do we translate that? Devise or contrive. Why are you still contriving? Why do you contrive? Question mark. Why are you still trying to win this battle? Why are you still trying to get Turnus to win the battle? Why are you still trying to kill the Trojans? Why are you still against Aeneas? You know he's going to win. Why are you against him? Out or high raise. I'm gonna actually, so this is a question, so questions in English are actually the word order in English is actually kind of goofy. Out or quaspe, by what hope, Hyrus, do you delay Gelides in nubibus, in your frozen clouds, or in your icy clouds? Like, why are you up here on your cloud, like delaying the inevitable, trying to contrive that Turnus win? Okay, mortalin, you probably looked that up and could not find it. This is mortali, which is the word for mortal, just dative. Nay, this is actually a nay. And nay at the end of the first word in a sentence means it is going to be a yes or no question. Licet ne mihi uti loco secreto. So that nay is going to be a yes or no question. I don't know why Latin just left that E off, but that's why we have a question mark here. Decuit is my verb here. So here, I'm gonna start out with an is, like, is it decuit? Is it fitting? And is what fitting? Magistra, I'm glad that you asked. Is it fitting? Let's see. And now we're looking for accusatives and infinitives. Is this fitting? Everything that I'm about to say, is that fitting? Is that apt? Is that appropriate? That the god, and that's why the here is, I mean, it's in the accusative case, but it's acting as the subject of this clause of indirect something, I guess indirect question. Is it fitting that the god violari, be violated, to be violated? This is an infinitive, to violate, but it's passive. Is it fitting that a god be violated mortali vulnere, by a mortal wound? So I'm going to JK, when I said this was dative, it's actually ablative, by a mortal wound. By a mortal wound. Is that fitting or is that unfitting? It's unfitting, oh dear wife, for Aeneas to receive a wound that's going to kill him because he's going to become a god. But he's doing this like asking of rhetorical questions where he knows that she's going to know the answer, and like he's trying to get her to realize like, oh, you're right, I am being unreasonable. Out insum quid anum sine te utornet voleret. So I'm going to say, or the sword, and this is a little aside, for what Utorna can Utorna do, or what can Utorna succeed, Sinete, without you? Question mark. Like, what can she accomplish without you? Is basically it. Is kind of the aside. Adensum eruptum ready, torno at wim crescere victis. Oh, what's my verb here? Let's see. And I'm gonna keep my verb here. Decuit. Because here's a question and then here's another question, but there's not like a main verb to hang on to. So I'm gonna hang on to this main verb. It is fitting. Or let's see. Is it fitting that the ereptum ensem, that the lost sword, or that the snatched away sword, meaning of Tornus, ready to be returned, Torno, to Tornus? Is it fitting, really, to give us, to restore the sword to the loser, the guy that's going to lose, at crescere, and to increase the whim, the power, victis, to the conquered person, or to the conquered people? Is it fair? Like, just put him out of his misery, right? Like, you know he's going to die, you know he's going to lose. Why do you keep elongating it, like drawing it out? Why did you return the sword to him? That's actually counterproductive, oh Juno, and it's not helpful. De sine iam tandem pecibusque inflectori nostris. Let's see. De sine means stop, or yeah, stop. And inflectore, flectoflectore is to turn or to bend. Inflectore is like to bend toward something. Let's see. Iam tandem, now finally. De sine. I don't feel like de sine means stop here. I think it means sine, like allow. Allow, not stop. I think it means allow. Allow, because sine means stop. So finally allow. Maybe no, ignore that. Okay, allow. Now finally that this happened. That you bend precibus nostris, to our prayers, or to our wishes. And the our here means Jupiter's. Finish this little line. Ni te tantus edit, lest tantus dolor. Lest, or sorry, ni means less, or like nisi, unless, because if you don't like turn yourself to our prayers and allow our prayers what they want, like what our prayers want, which is like to let Aeneas win, here's what's going to happen. Unless tantus dolor, such a sorrow, aided, what is aided? I'm going to say consume, consumes te, you. Have you ever been so sad or so upset about something that it just eats away at you? It takes over your mind, and every time you open your mouth, you can't help but just talk about it. That's kind of what he's saying. Like, this great grief that you have, this great sorrow that you have, is going to consume you. Tacitam, silent you. I wonder why he calls her silent, because she's not usually. Maybe like from her inside. Et saipe, and often, I'm going to say tristes cori, and often your sad anxieties, or your sad cares, your sad anxieties, recorsant, will run through over and over again, read back or run back. Saipe often mihi, to me. Ex ore tuo dulci. From your sweet mouth. Listen, if this bothers you so much, can you just please let it go? Can we please come to an agreement about the whole Aeneas Turnus fight thing, about the whole Latins and Trojans fight thing? Because I'm never going to hear the end of it. You are always going to complain about it, and I'm always going to be hearing about it. We need to come to an end here. We need to come to a stop. Because you're going to keep complaining about it. Okay, I'm going to stop here for the moment, and hopefully I will be able to post another video soon. And hopefully you'll be able to watch 2 videos because I'd like to get through more. Bye, guys.